Good afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, great to have you. At least it's afternoon here, so so I can say good afternoon from where I am. Um, Thanks for joining us on this session, the EduChat session. Just in a few minutes, we'll be bringing up our international partners to expose to us or to shed more light on certain things that some of us might have found clueless. We seem to be clueless about. And for some of us, we know things about it, but it might just be an avenue for us to find out more avenues, more ways to impact more on our children. And basically, I'd like to also say that this is a program or this is a live session where school owners and educators generally, can just feel free to take up one or two things away from this. So in a few minutes from now, we'll be joined by Mr. George, who happens to be the partnership manager for Digital Media Academy. And we'll also be joined by Mr. Jamie Turner, who happens to be the director of education for Digital Media Academy. Okay, so we'll be getting to know a whole lot of things, online STEAM courses for children age 7 to about 18. So feel free to drop in um, questions for at the comment section, or have a chat with us, and be sure you will have your question answered by any of our guest speakers in the show today. All right. Well, so I'd like to bring in our first guest, Mr. George, who happens to be more like the partnership manager for Digital Media Academy. Okay, and he'll be coming up pretty soon. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. All right then, Mr. George. So that's Mr. George, everybody. Like I said, he is the partnership manager for Digital Media Academy, and we will be having a whole lot of talk about STEAM education. You know, and so we want to find out. The question is, we want to really, really know how to include our children, take our children from what level, and just infuse them into the digital space, so to say, give them a very well-grounded digital learning. And Digital Media Academy will help us go through all of the answers and questions that we need to know about integrating tech into education, so to say, and also developing 21st century skills, in our children. Okay. And again, we would also like to bring in Mr. Jamie Turner, the Director of Education for Digital Media Academy. Okay, so Mr. Jamie Turner comes up um, right about now.
Good morning, everyone. Good evening. Good afternoon.
So whichever it is. Okay, so we're starting right now with our questions. And before we even go to the serious and crucial questions, I first want to ask Mr. George, can you just give us a brief introduction of yourself, what you do, and how it has really helped in educational development, so to say?
Yeah, Justin, definitely. I'm the partnership manager at Digital Media Academy. And to give you a quick introduction, Digital Media Academy was created at Stanford University in 1999 for the purpose of delivering impactful technology and STEAM education, which stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, right? And STEAM education is a vital component for how today's young learners can embrace and prepare for not just the future global environment, but also to develop important skills for the future job market.
Okay, all right, that's great. I like the way you said future job market. And it seems so scary right now because I'm sure everybody reads around. Parents are also reading around and saying that a lot of people will not fit in to what is coming next, in the digital space in terms of workforce. So there are certain skills that actually qualify your child to be a partaker of the workforce of the future. So, Mr. Jimmy Turner, I want you to also talk more about yourself, Digital Media Academy, and what you've been doing, in the educational space.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Justin. So yeah, as I said, my name is Jamie Turner, and I'm currently the director of education for Digital Media Academy. I'm an educator and a teacher, and I've been teaching for now over 12 years. I've taught in Canada, and I've taught in most recently I lived in London, England, in the United Kingdom, where I was teaching STEM and STEAM based programs with children of different ages. My role at Digital Media Academy is to ensure that that Ivy League standard, that high quality standard of technology education is maintained in all of our courses. And I work very closely with the educational team to ensure that we're providing the support needed and the quality of the STEAM courses is upheld. So yeah, just to add on to sort of what George said, Digital Media Academy has been the global leader in STEAM education for many years, over 20 years of doing this, based out of Stanford University. And STEAM education, it has been a growing area of study or area of learning that is integrated with the economy of tomorrow, or the economy of our future, is the way that STEAM educators like to think about it. You know, we're preparing our young people and our young students for jobs and for the careers that we don't even know yet, that aren't even created yet. And we need to be prepared, and our education system needs to be prepared and adjust to these different forms of learning. And that's where STEAM pedagogy and STEAM learning comes in.
Okay, fantastic. I'd like to just deviate a bit and to ask you about, you mentioned something about pedagogy which struck me. And with that in mind, looking at the courses and the curriculum that you have outlined, I went through them and I was blown away in terms of STEAM education. In a bid to understand the potency of this form of learning, the STEAM education, I'd really love you to emphasize more on the courses, and the curriculum, and how they were developed. How were you able to develop courses to ensure that the children are truly well grounded, in digital learning?
Yeah, great question. I'll start, and George, you can add anything if you wish. So Digital Media Academy has worked with hundreds of curriculum developers, expert technology teachers, and technology students for many years, and has a very strong understanding of what it looks like to take a student on a journey of learning of these technological skills. So Digital Media Academy covers 6 different learning pathways in our courses. These pathways are digital storytelling, computer science and artificial intelligence, robotics and engineering, creative design, and game design, and finally music production. And these are all pathways that our courses fall under. And STEAM is all about students being engaged in interest-based and relevant learning, and using these relevant and sort of 21st century topics and skills to guide their inquiry, guide their desire to talk with each other and to learn, and to help them to think critically. And these curriculum have been developed by the leading STEAM curriculum developers across the world. We work, most recently, our Certified Schools STEAM Learning Lab, and that's the one I believe we're talking about primarily today, our online self-paced courses. Those courses were developed over the last 3 years, actually. So they're very fresh, they're very new, they're very relevant, and they were developed in partnership with 10 different curriculum developers from across the globe that we've been working with over many years. And these are leading curriculum developers for STEAM.
Fantastic. And I'd like to also throw more light on this. I probably have been in the educational space for averagely, let's say 5 years.
Okay.
And up until last year, I never really understood that there was something called the higher order thinking and the lower order thinking. In terms of, I don't know if you've heard of the Bloom's taxonomy, so to say. And then I realized that many of the schools that I have around my place here, they really just dwell on, the lower order thinking. You understand? Yeah. But then this higher order thinking, when we get to that stage where we can evaluate with what we've learned, it gives us the ability to then create due to our analyses and then our evaluation, and then we can go straight to now creating. It helps you to tackle real life issues. In Nigeria, so to say, We want to be able to see children who will tackle real life issues. And so my question right now is, how does this curriculum, help the children, the Nigerian child, tackle real life issues in this country, in our country?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and a really important sort of global issue. How does our education system address current challenges and meet the needs of the current economy and the future economy? And that's really an important topic. As you say, Bloom's taxonomy, or the layers of thinking, is something that our education system has been adjusting to for many years. We are very used to, around the world, of what they call just rote teaching, where we tell the student what they need to memorize, what they need to know, and then they can repeat it to us. Our education system for centuries has been that sort of style of communication, and then you repeat it. STEM education and STEM pedagogy is about sort of turning it over and allowing the students to create, and allow the students to inquire, and allow the students to evaluate their own work, and evaluate what projects that they're working on together. An important concept in STEAM is project-based learning, or PBL. And project-based learning is all about giving an initial idea, learning a skill, and then setting the students on a task or a project that they can they can work together, they can collaborate, and they can also do by themselves, but something that they are driving, something that they are creating. And as you say, working towards that goal of creating original work that is that uses high order thinking to solve real world problems. So just to address the specific point about the economy and linking it to current day, our young people are more engaged both in the online world and the global community than any of us, or any probably of our listeners, ever were. From the youngest age, they are engaging with material and content that is years faster than when we were young learners. And the pace that young people are consuming information is higher than ever. The economy is moving faster than ever, and we need to have young people to have those creative thinking skills, those abilities to see the problems before them and find those creative solutions, and be innovative, and be those leaders of tomorrow. There's a lot of research and proven pedagogy out there that shows that the leaders of tomorrow will be the leaders who can solve problems, the leaders that can adapt to what's happening around them. Not people that just have so much knowledge, but people that can be creative and that can think outside the box. And it's not about that knowledge anymore. It's about your ability to act.
Yeah. I must say, I'm in support of what you just said. It's not about just taking in knowledge. It's about putting that knowledge into action.
That's right.
And sorry, George, I have to apologize. It seems as though I've been having a whole lot of conversation with Mr. Jamie Turner. But this is what I'm going to do. I definitely will ask the questions. I'm just reserving the best for the last. Yeah, so to say. So we'll get that. All right, then going forward, Mr. Jamie Turner, also, I want to ask the age range. How have you designed this curriculum and these courses to address various age range? And also, what age range does your course or the courses you offer cater to?
Yeah, great question. So our online self-paced courses on the STEAM Learning Lab meet from age really from 7 up to age 18, or actually even earlier learners as well. We're seeing learners from age 5, age 6. In North America, we call that kindergarten, and in that kindergarten age, already we're doing learning in STEAM, and that's we call that computational thinking. They do unplugged activities, lots of games, lots of fun activities for the young learners, and then slowly moving up in difficulty and skill and challenge to allow those students to sort of develop as they go. So our courses across these different learning pathways that I described to you earlier Our courses across these learning pathways are available for all learners of that age, sort of 6, 7, up until age 18 plus. Personally speaking, I've done every single one of our courses, and I'm a lot older than 18 plus, and I learned so much, and I almost think it could be up for anyone 100 years plus, because actually the learning is relevant, and actually completing the courses is intellectually stimulating and fun for learners of all ages. So I actually, even though they're targeted towards young students, I think it could be for anyone, really.
Yeah, fantastic. So I attended this digital summit in Lagos a few weeks back, and I was at the session, and then someone asked this question: that what course do you think would really determine your existence or your stay, in the digital workforce? So I'd like to ask that question to you right now. What course do you offer that would determine the relevance, of a child, in the
Sure.
digital workforce that seems to be around us right now?
Sure. The answer is that there's lots of different answers. Depending on what your passion is, I think. If I had to choose just one, I would probably choose data analytics. Data analytics and computer science is probably it's the fastest growing industry in our world right now. How we use data and how we collect and use data to inform how we change society. So we have, for young students, we have a course called Encryption, Ciphers, and Digital Detectives. And it's about like young students learning their first thing about how the internet safety and internet coding really works, and how data works on the internet. And then as students get older, we've got a sequence of 2 courses that I can highly recommend. One is called Data Literacy in a Global Society. And the second is called Analyzing Data Using Python. And Python is a coding language. And both of these courses, in fact, all of the courses that are data literacy courses, really would help someone to understand data science and data analytics. And that is the fastest growing industry by far, and actually the industry where globally we are seeing a significant lack of young people having that knowledge coming out of university or even school, and they can't hire enough people right now. There's not enough workforce.
Okay, interesting. So we have children go up online, the digital academy platform, pick up some courses, learning. But how then do you measure? How then do you assess, their level of understanding? What form of assessment do you provide on that platform?
Yeah, so so STEAM is a lot about. It's actually less about formal assessment and more about like understanding like the process. It's about students going through the process. We're in our education system, we're very fixed on grades. What grade did I get? What percentage did I get? And actually that's much less important than actually going through the journey and enjoying the learning for students. There are grades given throughout our courses for some of the activities, but some of them are also just participation. For example, there are quizzes that happen throughout every course, and those quizzes, you do receive a grade. Those quizzes are either on terminology or key concepts, or they're matching games, or true or false answers, different types of quiz questions. And we do provide like an example project. So a lot of the projects at the end are creation projects where you're creating something. We don't want to evaluate that you created something bad or you created something good, because actually the point is that you created something, and that should be celebrated. And so it's actually less about the grade at the end of the course as much as it is about just that creation process. But you do have throughout the course sort of like key sort of milestones or touch points where you are getting some feedback on how you are doing.
Yeah, okay. That's fantastic. I have to say, George, this is for you right now. I have to say I was speaking with a friend of mine in the educational space right now. And, she told me a whole lot of things about, I happen to be a business developer. And then, I was speaking to a colleague, and then she sees she's been calling a whole lot of parents to sign up for a certain program. It's an online course. And a lot of parents were just saying, are you reasonable at all? There seems to be something happening. There's a pandemic, and then your price is so high. And I went across your price, but I'm going to leave you to talk about the pricing of this. And believe me, for what you offer, this is too good an offer. So, Mr. George, please, I'll just leave you to talk about the offer, the pricing, and what you're offering as well.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. If you look at our website, the original pricing is that we have three packages with 10 courses in each package, right? And we usually charge them at $400 for a year's access to these packages. But we understand that right now is a very special situation. And so we want to support, students learning from home as much as possible. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to work so closely, with your company to actually offer the special prices at $99 for access to all 30 courses, so that students and parents can actually work together at home to go through our courses and have access to great STEAM content from home.
Okay. All right then. All right, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. So the question I also wanted to ask Mr. Jamie is, are you putting up, is there a certain structure you're putting up to ensure that there's continuity, in learning? Are you looking at expanding from 18 upwards?
Apologies. Do you mean specifically during this health crisis, Justin, or just in general?
Just in general. Just in general.
Yeah. So in terms of continuity of learning, all of our courses. So let's take creative design as an example. Creative design is one of our sort of areas that we teach. If you started at say you did one of the courses and you were age 10, and you started at age 10, you saw that there was a course that was appropriate for your age. It was an introductory course to creating 3D models or creating 3D designs. You would be able to take that introductory course, and following that introductory course, you would be able to move on to subsequent courses and continue your learning. So after that introductory course, you would have an option. You can do designing play spaces, so designing play environments like parks or creative spaces like that. Or we have another course called designing urban spaces, and that's creating cities, even thinking about what cities would look like on the moon. And students get to actually go through a process of creating their own 3D models or their own 3D designs that they can then share, or even if they wanted to, they could print them, and they could print their own 3D models from home if they had a 3D printer or a printer at school. So there's these different options for something like that, and that continuity or that journey that students can go on is available within the different courses that George was discussing.
All right then. All right, that's awesome. Now I want you to put us through the process. I had called up a parent recently, and then she kept asking, "I have 3 children. This is really awesome. Can my 3 children be signed up to this?" That's the question I'm asking. So, what's the process of entry for every of these clients?
Yeah,
George, do you want to take that, or?
Yeah, for sure. So any parent can actually reach out to you directly to get access to these courses, because we are working very closely with your company this time on this project. So I think it's a great way for them to just reach out directly to you, and I'm sure we can work out something together for them.
Okay.
I would just say as Justin. I would just say as sort of the expert on the platform and understanding the courses, that it's important that each student has their own access. Because if you're just one family and you think, oh, I've got 3 kids, but they can just use each other's account, the challenge on the platform is, I understand that from an economics perspective, you only have to buy one offer, but actually what happens on the platform is that each course is you sort of only go through it one time. You can go through it multiple times, but actually when the student is going through it, they receive badges, they receive awards, they receive a certificate of completion when they've completed that course, a special certificate from Digital Media Academy. And it would be, one child would get the certificate, one wouldn't, one would get the badge, one wouldn't, and it would be a bit more challenging if you were sharing an account per se. Justin, if I could just address this current crisis and this current quarantine period that we're facing around the world. Can I just say from Digital Media Academy, like this is globally a very challenging time for education and for parents and for teachers. And Digital Media Academy has been responding to hundreds of thousands of parents around the world saying, we want something that is fun and educational for our kids to be learning at home right now. And we have seen higher than ever rates of parents signing up, buying the product, and really loving the content because it's engaging for their students. It's not them saying, sit here and do some math. It's saying, sit here and I want you to be really creative and I want you to build a 3D model here on this program, or I want you to create an animation on this program. And there's lots of different fun and engaging things that keep students busy at home right now. And really all they need is any device that's connected to the internet. So it could be a mobile device, it could be a computer, it could be a tablet, anything that allows them to get online and access the courses.
Fantastic. Well, for me, I really the engagement is on a scale of 100. I've given children laptops and I just said, just get yourself engaged, and they are lost into it. And it really just develops a whole lot of abilities in them. The communication, the concentration, the determination, all of that is just critical thinking, problem solving, analytical processing. It's a whole wide range of 21st century learning, so to say. I'd like to also tell the Nigerian clients, please, we have the link to the data, the form right there. You can see it on the screen, and you could just log into that. And if you seem to have an interest in what we've discussed, I'm sure you need this. I'm definitely sure you need this. You could just put your name and your details right there, and we will get back to you in the next 24 hours. Thank you so much, George, for being a part of this. Thank you, Jamie Turner, we are really, really grateful for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Justin.
Yeah,
thank you so much, Justin, and everyone. We're wishing you well at this time.
Yeah, thank you. All right, bye then. Bye.
Thank you very much, everyone.